Learning Spanish basics. Today is January 7th, 2023. Try the hardest exercises from this level. Fill in the blank. Tú vives blank Inglaterra, Eduardo. Blank, yo trabajo en Londres. Your choices are en and donde, or es en cuando, or de en quién. You live blank somewhere in England. And then something about Eduardo blank. Yeah, I'm gonna go en and donde. Got it. Tu blank Europa y tu hijo donde blank. Your choices are vive and vives. I'm gonna go tu vives because usually when you use the word tu, you're gonna be like the most plural with the s at the end.
Vives.
And then y tu hijo donde vive.
Vive.
Got it. It's like a little trick that you can remember. You want to use the most plural when you have the word tu before it.
¿Tú no quieres estudiar español?
Tú no quieres estudiar español. Translate into English. You no want study Spanish. I'm going to say that's directly translating it. I'm going to say you don't want to, or, oh, look at this. Don't you want to? Okay, so the meaning that they were wanting is don't you want to study Spanish? And to say that in Spanish, you're going to say, ¿Tú no quieres estudiar español? So that's what it sounds like in Spanish to a Spanish person. Directly translating it from word, it kind of doesn't sound right. It says, you no want studying Spanish. That's how we see it when we translate word from word. But when you say it to them in that meaning, in Spanish, what they're hearing is, don't you want to study Spanish? Fill in the blanks. Mi madre blank en Europa. Donde blank tú? En Francia? Your choices are vive and vives. Once again, we see the word tú, but the word tú is at the end of the sentence. I'm still gonna go with the plural with the s for that though.
Vive.
Mi madre vive en Europa, and ¿dónde vives tú? En Francia?
Vives.
Okay, cool. So it did work. So try to use the one with the S when you're near this, even when it's behind it.
¿Quieres estudiar inglés?
Translate this sentence from Spanish to English. ¿Quieres estudiar inglés? Wanting to study English? But it's going to be like the one we did earlier. It's going to be like asking the question, do you want to study English? ¿Quieres estudiar inglés? Do you want to study English? Got it. Translate from English to Spanish. Mr. Perez studies Spanish. I'm gonna go el señor
El señor
Pérez
Pérez
estudia
estudia
español.
español.
In Spanish, it sounds weird, but it's like a formal thing. Sometimes you use the word el before Señor Pérez. I think you can use just Señor Pérez and you'll be fine, but more formal, you say el Señor Pérez estudia español.
¿Dónde quieres estudiar?
¿Dónde quieres estudiar? Translate into English. Where do you want to study is what pretty much what it's asking. ¿Dónde quieres estudiar? Where do you want to study? Got it. Translate from English to Spanish. Mr. Perez lives in a house. I'm going to go el señor
El señor
Pérez
Pérez
vive
vive
en una casa.
en una casa.
Because a casa is feminine in Spanish. So go with the una. Got it. El señor Pérez vive en una casa.
¿Dónde quieres trabajar?
¿Dónde quieres trabajar? Translate to English. ¿Dónde quieres trabajar? Where do you want to work? Got it. So the takeaway is what they're hearing in Spanish. It sounds different for us when we're translating word from word because, like, directly translating, donde means where, quieres means like want or wanting, kind of, and trabajar means work or like working. But what they hear when you say donde quieres trabajar, they get this bigger, longer sentence. Where do you want to work? Mr. Ramos does not live in Mexico. El señor Ramos does not live in Mexico. No vive
No vive
en Mexico.
en México.
Got it. So what they wanted was el señor Ramos no vive en Mexico. 10 in a row. Translate from English to Spanish. Mr. Perez works in an office. El señor
El señor Pérez
trabaja
trabaja
en
en
una oficina.
una oficina.
Got it. So the takeaway is office, I guess, in Spanish is considered feminine. I wasn't sure about that, but it ends in an A for oficina. So I went with una before that. El señor Pérez trabaja en una oficina. Perfecto.